Hey guys, it's Neffy. Thank you for joining me today. As you guys know, I am an urban apologist. I answer questions having to do with being black and being Christian. So if you're black and you're a Christian and you're living in the 21st century, you have most likely heard or come across a group who calls themselves either Hebrew Israelites or Black Hebrew Israelites. So first of all, there are several factions of Hebrew Israelites. They have varying beliefs between them, but the underlying current, the thing that holds them together, is the idea that the Bible speaks about prophecies that would happen to the children of Israel if they were disobedient to God, and that those prophecies have been fulfilled during the transatlantic slave trade. Their belief is that we, African Americans, and the people in the diaspora are the true children of Israel. In order to substantiate their claim, knowing that we come from West Africa, how are we supposed to be children of Israel and we from West Africa, we ain't from Jerusalem? The way they establish that is by basically coloring all of West Africa Hebrew. One thing that you will notice in their arguments when it comes to this subject is that they very frequently point to this particular map, which was issued in 1747. I'm going to show you a few clips of them pointing to this map and telling you what this is supposed to mean.
As you look, you see where it says slave coast? We're going to get closer up for you so you can see that. You see where it says slave coast? Just above it, what does that say? Kingdom of Judah. J-U-D-A, or Wida, yeah? Which is another way of saying Judah, yeah? In a different language, right? Where it says slave coast and Gold Coast, right? So let's go to a map that's got a little bit of a close-up, because what I did, I redid that part of the map so you can see it in a much closer. So look at that. It says Kingdom of Judah. Yeah, slave coast. Yeah, and you see Jews in Africa. Wida. Yeah, see it says that Judah. These people are not stupid. They don't go into these places without doing their research. So they knew about these things, and they also knew that the black Jews, the real Jews, fled Israel to the west coast of Africa during the siege by Vespasian.
Notice what he's saying you're supposed to gather from the fact that this map says Kingdom of Judah. They knew, they ain't stupid, they did their research, they knew who we was.
As Kingdom of Judah in Africa, right here. So this would be modern day Benin here. Is that a coincidence? Who named these people on the map? Portugal. Alright, Portugal did. So Portugal is the one to name. The Portuguese knew exactly who we were. Is basically what it comes down to.
But we're going to focus on the slave coast. One of the things I'm going to bring out is a book called The Negro Question. Those of you who are questioning. All right. The African slave ships, they came from where? Judah. Now, on here he has a picture of the map. All right. As I have right here, at the center of the map, Bowen shows that the true name of the so-called slave coast was none other than the Kingdom of Judah. That was the true name of what you know today as the slave coast. Look it up. Look his map up, Emmanuel Bowen. I have it right here behind. It says, Judah was known by 4 different names at that time. Judah, Wida, or Wida, which is W-H-I-D-A-H. Some would spell it W-H-Y-D-A-H. But anyway, Uda, which is sometimes spelled with a Q. Or Abir, which is A-B-I-E-R. I hope you're writing this stuff down. That the slave coast was originally known as the Kingdom of Judah, but it had 4 different names, which I just got done naming. It says, what does this mean to those of us who have been in hot pursuit of the truth? It means that we have the proof from the royal mapmaker himself that Judah was indeed listed among the inhabitants of Africa.
So basically what they're saying is, because this map says Kingdom of Judah, that means tribe of Judah, that means Hebrew Israelites, that means me, you, and all our mama them, we Hebrews. But what do the people of Benin have to say? You know, the people who actually live there.
In America, people say that Juda means Judah from the Bible. Is there any truth to that? Is there any truth, like, as a tribe outside of the phone called Hebrew Israelites? Have they ever came or settled here in Juda and called it Judah, but then changed the name back to Juda? Is there any truth to that?
I think now that is nonsense. Because we have nothing like Judah in our things. When we hear Juda, you know, Juda, even the real name is Juda. Juda. Because the people who are living here in the former time are Juda.
Okay.
People who speak Juda.
Okay.
Now, when the settlers came, I mean the Europeans, talking about the French people, Portuguese, we have also American, we have different masters that time at colonial time, you know. So when they wanted to pronounce Juda,
right,
French people say Juda, and Portuguese say Juda, other people say Juda.
Right.
So we have different spelling according to their maternal tongue.
Okay.
The maternal tongue of the settlers.
Okay.
So the real name of our city is Juda.
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 Okay.
Juda.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
So you never heard of, and you can ask this to the elder.
Yeah.
Has the elder ever heard of a tribe called the Hebrew Israelites settling here in Juda and calling it Judah at one time?
They are surprised that they have never heard that name.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm doing this, because there's a lot of misinformation and lies being spread in America.
Okay.
So we want to get the record straight and the facts.
They are really wrong.
Okay.
Nobody knows about Judah here.
Okay.
Maybe when you go in religion like Christianity, you may hear of those names, but in our tradition, there's no name, no king, nobody has been Judah here.
Okay.
Yeah. In our tradition, there's no name, no king, nobody has been Judah here.
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, he took you through the origin of the term. It's Portuguese origin, but really it came from the people there themselves called themselves Juda. He said that. And then the French called it Juda, and then the Portuguese called it Ajuda. Not because they saw Hebrews there and they saw people, the children of Israel, and they knew that they were enslaving the Israelites because no, okay? The reason why they called it that was because they were attempting to pronounce Juda. But of course, their language, their tongue was trained according to their language to pronounce words a certain way. If you want to learn more about that, I also have another video entitled The Letter J in Jesus' Name, which refutes the argument that because there was no letter J back when Jesus was supposed to have lived, that means Jesus never existed. You'll want to check that video out, because there I talk about how pronunciation varies between language when they're trying to basically still say the same thing. Now, I happen to have been blessed to have presented at the Truth Summit in Boston late last year. And if you haven't had the opportunity to attend, I suggest you join the Facebook group. And I'm pretty sure Pastor Jason LaPlanche has an opportunity for you to purchase the videos from the presentations that were there. They're phenomenal. But I want to show you what my good friend and fellow urban apologist, or apologist, Pastor Damon Richardson had to say that blew me away at that presentation.
There's an area in Benin called Ouida. So I'm going to show you how they try and play you ignorant. They'll say, oh, so Ouida is really pronounced as Juda. And it's really, Owida is really as Juda because the West Africans there were really Israelites from the tribe of Judah. Yeah. So they say that Israelites settled in Benin and named their town as Juda. Let me show you what history tells us. Portuguese, or I should say French settlers, colonized that area, and they called it Owida. The Portuguese could not pronounce Owida, so they called it Ajuda because of their inability to say Owida as the French had named it. The interesting thing is Owida, Ajuda, however you pronounce it, means help, not praise. Judah in Hebrew means praise, not help. And so, again, this is that phonological trick. Doesn't it sound the same? Must be the same. Judah, that sounds like Judah. It must be Judah. Therefore, the people who live there must be Judahites. That's really, really, really bad logic.
You know, I'm sitting in the crowd watching the presentation and I'm just like, it clicked for me. And the reason why it clicked for me, he said here that in Portuguese, the word ajuda means help.
Help. Ayuda.
Some of you may know that my mother's family is Afro-Cuban, and so I grew up speaking Spanish. So when he said Portuguese for help is ayuda, it rang with me because it's the same in Spanish. It's ayuda.
If you want to say I need help in Spanish, you can say necesito ayuda. Necesito ayuda.
And again, if you watch that video about the letter J, you'll see how the letter Y and the letter J are pretty much the same sound or pretty much the same letter interchangeably. Now, the reason why this is important, you can see here that there are many different ways to say Wida. The African brother told us that it was Weda. Then we had the French who came and said Wida, Juda. And so the Portuguese here are attempting to say Wida. The Hebrew Israelites claim that the Portuguese showed up and saw the children of Israel there and were trying to say tribe of Judah. But all they were really trying to say was Wida. If they had been speaking Portuguese, the word ajuda has a meaning in their own language and it means help. It does not mean tribe of Judah. Another thing is, there is currently a parish or a neighborhood in Portugal right now to this day called Ajuda. But nobody says that the children of Israel and the lost tribe of Judah is over there. Why? Let's just say for a moment that it were true, that it was named after the kingdom of Judah because of the tribe of Judah. If you do any sort of investigation into West African, the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, you'll find that they didn't necessarily capture the people at the coast. They weren't stripping people from the coast. What they did was apply pressure at the coast and attempt to make agreements or contracts with the kingdoms that were on the coast for those people to go into the interior and kidnap other Africans. If you read about Equiano, it talks about how it took him several weeks to travel from the interior over rivers until he reached the coast where there was so much water that he'd never seen before. He had never seen the ocean before. His people were not a coastal people. So the slave trade lasted from my start date for the slave trade is 1440, when the Portuguese first took, I think it was like 12 slaves back to Portugal to show them off to the king of Portugal, and then that kind of initiated the slave trade. So it was officially abolished in the late 1800s. Unofficially, I think it still goes on today. So there were plenty of ships, millions of people who were transported in the slave trade from Africa, millions of people who were stolen over a span of approximately 400 years. So you trying to tell me that if I live on the coast and I see these Europeans showing up, I'm just going to stay here. Like me and my family, we're not going to try to run and hide in the woods somewhere. We're not going to escape the coast. No, we're just going to sit here over centuries and repopulate the land after they steal millions of people, thousands of people a month. shipping them off to the new world. We see this going on. We just gonna stay here and y'all just wiping us all out? How are you getting millions of people for 400 years? You're not getting them from the same place. And furthermore, the people of Juda were slave catchers. They were contracted basically by the Europeans to go into the interior and capture slaves. That's why they had the port there. They were assisting the Europeans. Now, I have my own personal reservations. I try to keep it balanced. So with regards to slave catching and Africans participating in the slave trade, like I said before, I believe they applied pressure, right? So it's kind of like, yeah, some of them did see it as a financial opportunity. Others of them saw it more along the lines of, well, either we participate and save our own skins, or, we die, whatever the case is. But this video isn't about that. The point is that the people residing in the kingdom of Judah or Juda or Juda were not the ones who were primarily being used as cargo and sold off into slavery. They were going and kidnapping other people. So even if it had been them, even if they had been Israelites, which they were not, they wouldn't have been our ancestors. So I think this information is extremely important. I showed you the clips where the people were talking about it ad nauseum, where they were making it seem like, okay, Kingdom of Judah means tribe of Judah, means you and me, you know what I'm saying, the Bible about us. No, okay? Now I'm going to do a series of videos. This is not going to be the only video about Hebrew Israelites or their doctrine or their theories. When I announced that I was going to do this video on my Facebook page, a lot of people, Hebrew Israelites, jumped on and were commenting, posting different tidbits about why they believe that there were Jews in West Africa. And a lot of them I don't think they fully investigate what they're posting, because when I read the very things that they posted, it was really referring to Europeans. So the King of Portugal kicked out European Jews from Portugal because they refused to follow Catholicism, right? And he banished them to West Africa. And so we're reading accounts now where it says that there are Jews in West Africa, and they're assuming that it means Africans, but it don't. Just like Judah does not mean tribe of Judah, it means Juda. And as the gentleman who lives in Benin told you, Juda. You can easily get swept up in the idea that, oh my goodness, King of Judah, tribe of Judah, kingdom of Judah, that means that the Hebrew Israelites are right, and no. Pump your brakes. They're not right. They're wrong. And it requires further investigation, and not even that much investigation. I didn't have to go give you a slew of different things for you to see. The truth of the matter is, all they did was change the word. It was just their version of Juda, Ayuda. Stay Christian, stay black, stay woke.